Yeah. Oh, the Cocaine Bear. Did you see that preview for that
Yes.
movie?
Yes.
That's perfect. Jordan Davis has the personality of a teddy bear, and he has the playing style of Cocaine Bear.
That is Jordan Davis.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 138 of Birds vs. Boys. Thanksgiving has come and gone. Cowboys win on Thanksgiving. The Eagles win on Sunday. And now we are looking ahead to week 12 in the NFL season, which absolutely boggles my mind. Don't forget, this show is brought to you by 2 delicious and tasty products coming out of Philadelphia, Delco Steaks and Stateside Vodka. And I know my co-host likes both of those. So, Aidan, how are you? I'm sure you enjoyed a nice little cheesesteak this past weekend.
Oh, yeah. Of course. And I'm great, by the way. Monumental day. 2 big things. Spotify Wrapped. I love judging people based off their music choices. And 2, Jordan Davis practice window activated. Huge day for my brand. I love music. I love Jordan Davis.
And you can make fun of me because I don't listen to Spotify, so I don't have a Wrapped.
Yeah, so I have Apple Music, and this is a big thing. Every year I remind myself to get Spotify on this day because it is so much better than Apple Music as just user-friendly. And then I don't do it. And then it's like a constant reminder. It's like every year I slap myself in the face for not doing it. Now you are just an old person and use God knows what. Like, you still listen to commercials when you listen to your music, correct?
Pandora, baby.
That's just insane.
I mean, I'm married with a kid. You think my wife's going to let me pay for music?
You backstage, we were just talking about how I've opened up multiple credit cards for perks, some of which I didn't even get the perks because I was trying to get Taylor Swift tickets, and I got a Capital One card thinking if I got the Capital One card, that would get me the Taylor Swift tickets. That did not happen. Nope, you told me that you opened a credit card and got $200 for doing that. You could have just taken the $200 and paid for a streaming service.
Again, married. Not my money.
But you can share an account. She can benefit from this.
I'll let you pitch it to her.
Let me have this.
So use Amazon.
That's actually a great idea. That should be an app idea. If you have a married person, if there's arguments they don't want to be in, you can tag somebody in and like they have the argument. So like I would argue on your behalf and like present your case for Spotify, which is just $9.99 a month.
Pops up on FaceTime on my phone. Here you go.
It's me.
Yep.
Hi.
Be awesome.
Yes.
Any time of the day too. You have to drop whatever you're doing. You're like Dobby. You just pop up.
Oh, I would love to be Dobby. He is an American hero. And I guess also a British hero.
He's a little bit of everything hero.
And
if this is your first time listening to Birds vs. Boys, yes, this is how it goes. Yes, we do talk football, but yes, we are talking about Dobby, the little elf, within the first 3 minutes of the show, and that's what makes this show.
We talked about the biggest person alive in Jordan Davis and the smallest person alive, Dobby. So I think we're right on track with where we need to be. Speaking of right on track where we need to be, both of our teams, both have wins coming up, and then 2, I guess you could call them big games for both of us. Kind of, you not so much, but the media is hyping it up as it is. But we're on track. Like, we look like the 2 best teams in the conference. I'm looking at Christmas Eve. Like, Christmas Eve might be like the deal breaker for the 1 seed in the division.
Yeah. So I do agree. Top 2 teams, but that team over there in San Francisco is starting to scare me a little bit, Aidan, as they always do.
I'm glad you brought that up. We're doing power rankings tonight, and we're giving a sleeper team, wild card team that's kind of flying under the radar that we think can make a run to the Super Bowl. So pretty much we have 31 teams at our disposal. That is not the Chiefs that we could choose from.
Yes.
if,
So
if you're sticking around for power rankings, you already know who number one is. I would love for you to listen for our breakdown, but if you're here for the TikTok power rankings, you are going to be disappointed.
Yes. All right, so we're going to do around the NFL, and actually, this just we haven't talked about this, but we're going to do this right now. So I was on BetQL or Bet Online today, looking at Super Bowl odds. Right.
Okay.
So give me who you think Vegas's top 5, 1 to 5, and I will tell you yes or no chances to win the Super Bowl. Number
Chiefs.
1.
Chiefs.
Number 1 is the Chiefs. Ding. Number 2.
It's the Cowboys.
Eh.
NFC or AFC?
AFC.
No, actually, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Okay.
Bills.
Ding. Number 3.
Then Cowboys.
Eh.
Eagles.
Yes.
Okay.
4.
Then Cowboys.
Eh.
Jesus. Dolphins.
Eh.
Really? 49ers.
Yes.
Okay.
5.
I have to guess the Cowboys because I've guessed
Yes.
them 4 times. Okay, thank God.
And then 6 was I believe the Dolphins.
There's 6.
Cowboys at 9-1. That's pretty good odds. I think the Dolphins were 14-1, which I love those odds.
Speaking of odds, all right, I won't. I'll just get off track. It's about college football. Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman. I've been thinking this for like 2 months, and they made fun of Rico on Barstool Pick, and I'm like, why are you making fun of him? Caleb Williams could win the Heisman. Now he's going to. And I didn't bet it like an idiot.
And I think Caleb Williams is going to be better than both C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young at the next level.
We love him. Like, you should be tanking for him. The Texans, they're going to suck next year. They're going to be number 1 again. They're going to get Caleb Williams. They're going to have a good team.
How about that?
Yeah.
And good teams also get top 10 picks when they shouldn't.
Yes, we should. Another thank you to the 49ers. Another big win over the Saints. Oh my goodness! With every loss, I can smell somebody off the Georgia defense. I can't wait to watch the SEC championship this week and just be like, I'll take him. I'll take him. I'll take him.
It's funny because you got the Eagles aren't the only ones too. The Seahawks are like they got rid of Russell Wilson. The Broncos stink, and they get their first round pick.
Also, the Seahawks gave their pick to the Jets. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And I could be wrong. This might just be last year. Do the Bears have their pick back? I think they do.
They might.
There's 3 teams. Like, if you look at the top 10, 3 of them don't actually have their pick. And I'm pretty sure it's Jets, hilariously, because they gave it to the Seahawks. Then the Seahawks gave it to the Broncos. So it's like they're just like passing it around.
So according to tankathon.com,
the best, if you're a
as of right now, Houston would have the first pick.
Yes.
The Bears have the second pick with the Rams would be third, but that pick is going to the Lions.
Yes. That's another one.
Denver is 4, but that pick goes to the Seahawks. Carolina is 5. The Saints are 6, but that goes to Philly.
Yep.
Arizona 7, Green Bay 8, Las Vegas 9, and Cleveland 10, which that goes to Houston.
Unreal. And that's for Deshaun Watson, who is this week. We don't talk about Deshaun Watson, but you see that they're just bringing the victims and putting them in a suite.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah,
that feels more like a publicity stunt than you trying to help victims of sexual harassment and abuse.
I get the whole thing, like they're facing their accused, but you're not really facing
in a suite.
Yeah.
It's a football stadium. Can't see who's in a suite.
And I know we don't talk Deshaun Watson, but I did a thing in fantasy.
You're done. You're cooked. I went
listen.
to check today, and I was gonna roast and scold whoever did it in my league. You picked them up.
Listen, I had Russell Wilson. I had Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, and Jameis has been hurt. And then so I've been playing Andy Dalton or Jacoby Brissett, and I've started making a run. I was very bad, and now I've won 4 straight. Just need myself a quarterback.
My friend did it. He did it. Matt, You're screwed. That's bad karma. You did it. You picked up Deshaun Watson. Ugh.
I for sure didn't think he would be available. I thought he was going to be on a team already, and then it popped up, and I was like, oh.
I think we all just forgot about it. And
Yes.
the thing to do would have been to pick him up last week
Yes.
and stash him for a week. But I think a lot of people are just like hesitant to, it's an imaginary team, but at the same time, it's like, do I want Deshaun? Do I want to root for Deshaun Watson?
No, I don't have to root or watch. I just check at the end and be like, oh, 37 points. Okay. And move on.
He also plays the Texans, which, given last week, man, are they in tank mode. They are in 2015 Sixers tank mode. Wow, are they bad. Also, one of the teams you brought up, the Broncos, I have a take on the Russell Wilson birthday party. I know people...
Bo Callahan?
Yes, the Bo Callahan thing. So the reason that is actually a story. So Russell Wilson's wife, Sierra, had a birthday party for Russ. Half the team showed up, which means half the team didn't show up. That got everybody talking about the Bo Callahan draft day thing where he didn't go first. Fonte Mack, no matter what, because Bo Callahan, nobody came to his birthday party, which meant nobody liked him. But I'll say this, half the team coming... Like if my birthday's in 2 weeks, if I was having a party and I invited 53 of my friends, because there's 53 guys on a team, if 27 people showed up, I'd be like, yo, this is hype. 27 of my friends, this is pretty cool. I'm going to have a good time. I don't think it's like that big of a deal that only half the team came. Like half is a lot of people.
It is a lot of people, but at the same time, if you're the franchise quarterback, you'd think. But at the same time, it's like, I would like to know what half.
Yes.
Was it offense, defense? Was it mixed? I would love to know who was actually there. Like, were any of his receivers there? What, like, you would think, like, the entire offensive line, like, needs to be there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, what if they weren't there? What if they weren't there? Like, what if Cortland Sutton wasn't there?
Was it just the rookies? And, like, the special teams guys?
Yeah, good point. I agree. Was
like
it just
that? I would like
Hackett and the coaching staff? Does that count?
Yeah, it was just the coaches.
I was reading that Hackett might actually be okay because he hasn't lost the locker room because the locker room has turned on Russ and Hackett actually has people skills. They haven't turned on him yet, despite being a very bad X's and O's coach. So that's kind of funny. Like he just saved his job by just kind of being a dude who people liked, which I kind of respect.
Too.
A decent human being and be nice.
You can't get rid of him.
You might keep your job.
It's like 87 million dead, 86.5, 90 million dead the next 3 years if they got rid of him.
Oh God.
They are. I think it's at least 2 more. I don't think it's till 2024 they can legitimately get out of it, but still have some issues.
That could be one of the worst trades of all time.
And I think what they're going to have to do is play him, I think this year, next year, then get another quarterback in there to compete with him. And if he still stinks, they're just going to have to sit him so he doesn't get hurt because then the injury clause would pop in if he gets hurt and then his salary would be guaranteed.
And you can't even build around him because your pick is going to the Seahawks. Does it go next year? Like they couldn't even draft Caleb Williams if they stink like this again, right?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Yep.
None of this would have happened if they would have kept the stadium named Sports Authority. I'll tell you that right now.
Mile high, baby. That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk about our teams who are good.
Yes. And let's talk about real quick Team USA, which is good. Congratulations. Yes. Moving on to
Pulisic is from Hershey, which is
he is
pretty much Harrisburg.
Yes, he is.
You share an area code.
Very thrilling. I know some people, I don't know. I love it. I think it's the best world around sporting event in the world. No. Yes.
No. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'm supporting the country. I am hype. I'm rooting for Pulisic. But at the same time, you're telling me that was more exciting than like Jalen Hurts juking 4 guys out of their cleats? No.
It's different.
No. It's different in the sense that they can't use their God-given opposable thumbs. I'll give you that.
Who cares?
I care. God gave us those things to use, to throw, to catch.
You don't have to.
Make fire.
Okay, then they're just playing football.
That's my point. They can do that.
Yeah, but those guys can't. They are superior athletes in different ways.
We
Like,
talked about this. If we put our best athletes in from the beginning of their lives, let them play soccer instead of football, we would dominate.
yes, we would dominate.
Like if T.
Absolutely.
Higgins was the goalie, it's over.
But like guys like even Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb, like they could not do what these guys do because they would not be able to. Are you kidding, Vince? It's 90 minutes of straight running. 90 straight minutes. They're not doing that.
I could do that.
No, you can't.
Kevin, I led my 9-year-old team in goals.
Okay.
I was good, but then I quit because I didn't like the uniform.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're ugly.
They
had a collar and they made me tuck my shirt in. I'd play now because they made me tuck my shirt in, and you don't have to. I noticed that you don't have to tuck your shirt in the World Cup, so I'll play in the World Cup if they need me. I know they got a few injuries.
I would love. I get 2 months to train, Vince. You could not play in a pickup fucking game in Manayunk in 2 months and last 90 minutes. No chance.
Because it's on a hill. Everything would go downhill or uphill. If you're going uphill, then you might be screwed for 90 minutes. But if you're going downhill, you're all right.
And it's just, it cracks me up to all these people that are like, oh, the diving and stuff, but yet they're LeBron James fans. Like, please, LeBron cries more than 7 soccer players put together.
Of course, this is just the take that I had from the game. Of course, the 2 times where people are flopping around the game, it's the first time I've ever seen them where they're actually hurt, and of course, there are guys. Like the one guy sprained his ankle, and Pulisic has a quote-unquote pelvic injury, which I think just based on the amount of balls we saw might know what area they were actually referring to. Like that's the first time I've like seen them like writhe around in the ground and like actually mean it.
Yeah. But we'll see when they play the Netherlands. It's going to be thrilling.
I will say it was exciting. Like down the stretch when you're like, all you have to do is like keep this goal, like this ball out of the goal, and that was exciting. That was nerve wracking. And they
like even today, I was like, they had Mexico playing Saudi Arabia and Poland playing Argentina at the same time because of the way the points are.
Yeah,
and it was 2-0 Argentina, 2-0 Mexico. But Poland gets to advance, even though they have the same amount of points, because it went to like the 7th tiebreaker that they had like less yellow cards. So because of that, Mexico goes home. Yeah.
That's dumb.
Well, it went to like goals, like head-to-head goal. Like it went down to like the 7th tiebreaker because everything else was still even.
We got to go back to football.
It is.
Real football. I will say, I hope he does the it's called soccer thing.
Oh, God, it's the best.
That'd be awesome.
Well, the whole stadium was chanting it the other night after we won.
Nice. So, that I can get behind, just being an arrogant American.
100%. Arrogant Americans love football. So, like we said, Eagles won on Sunday, Cowboys won on Thursday. I think the Cowboys-Giants game 2 was exactly what I expected. Anybody that thought that the Cowboys were just going to wallop them after scoring 40 against the Vikings the week before know nothing about the NFC East and know nothing about the Dallas Cowboys. So I think that game went exactly how I expected it.
It did, but it also was like it's we are who they thought they were for the Giants, and we'll play them twice, and we play them next week. But I mean, they could get a game from us. I could definitely see that. It happened last year, but I left that game and I didn't really have a take on the Cowboys. I just had a take that it just solidified everything I believed about the Giants to be true. So I genuinely think this is a 2-man race for the division, for the conference, for the NFC Championship. I just feel everything about it. And the one thing that could screw you over is like your special team sucks and the 49ers get an 8-minute drive against you and you can't get our offenses on the field. And
unless the Titans catch you this week, I think it's a 1-man race for the division. I really do. I think the Eagles. You have a 2-game lead with 6 to play is very tough to overcome.
Let's talk about it. Let's do my game. Let's do my game first because we're 1:00. You guys are 8:20. And very valid 8:20. 2 very competitive teams, you and the Colts. And if you look at the schedule, there are no other good, intense, competitive games that people would like to watch.
I was praying that got flexed out because I hate.
Yeah, I mean, Eagles, Titans. It didn't even need to be us, even though it's between 2 division leaders. You could have went 49ers, Dolphins, which could be a Super Bowl preview, but no, very well warranted for
they can't flex out yet, right? Until next week's the first week. I think they can flex.
No, they can flex out. They just didn't.
They can already. I thought it's only the last 5 weeks. Because that's why they already flexed out the Broncos.
Well, they're never. You have to do it so many days ahead of time.
Yeah.
So this had to have been done like over a week ago. and they didn't do
Well, I
it.
will tell you, unless they're 0-12, the Cowboys are never getting flex out of a primetime game.
That is why most people don't like the Cowboys, is because for
Well,
weeks we've been subjected to the Odell Beckham thing. It is the lead story. And then we have to watch them play the Colts on Sunday Night Football while the Dolphins, 49ers play at 1 or 4, whatever time. I don't know who's the home team, to be honest.
Trust me, most logical Cowboys fans hate it too. I'm sick of the Odell stuff. I'm not listening to it. I'm not talking about it until it's over. Like at this point, okay, he's going to visit the Giants, he's visiting the Bills, and he's visiting the Cowboys. Let's see what happens next week. I mean, at this point, I can't talk about it anymore.
This is the scene in New Girl where they're both Jess and Olivia Munn are competing for the best man, and he can't choose between the two. And the wedding ends, and he's still like, and can't decide. That is Olivia Munn and Jess are the Giants and the Cowboys, and the best man at the wedding is Odell Beckham. You just can't decide between the two.
And the Bills now too. So
yeah, I still want my Dolphins in there, but we'll see. Eagles Titans, 1:00.
Yep.
Sunday.
Yep.
This game comes down to one thing and one thing only. When we drafted Jordan Davis, I was very excited. The reason I was very excited is because he is a human boulder who blows things up and makes it very hard to run because he, isn't it like asteroids or orbits, like they can just like suck things in, like they just suck gravity in and stuff like that? That's Jordan Davis. If there was one game on the entire schedule that I would want Jordan Davis for, if he could just play once the entire year, it would be against Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans, who have a very clear game plan. It is to give Derrick Henry the ball, set themselves up into 2nd and 2 because he bowls people over and falls forward, tires your defense out, and take the pressure off Ryan Tannehill because he doesn't have any receivers, and they gave A.J. Brown to the Eagles. Yes. I need Jordan Davis to play. That's it. That's the whole key. We're done.
Yeah. Because if he doesn't, I mean, Linville Joseph is what he is. Sue's been playing well, but I mean, it's going to be a wrecking crew up the middle. Now, I'm not saying that means the Titans win, because obviously if the Eagles play their game plan and they can control the rock too, I mean, this is definitely going to be a game where it's like 6, maybe 7 possessions each.
Yep. But that's the the playbook against the Titans is always the same. They're the Wisconsin Badgers of the NFL. It's just they play for field position. They run the ball, that they're going to run the ball, and they do it anyway. And for the most part, they are successful. They win games, but they never win the big game because at some point their lack of talent level supersedes anything else, and they just don't match up talent-wise. And you just have to be that team that's more talented that they don't match up with. It's like they always kill in the Big Ten West, but then when they play in the Big Ten East and have to play Ohio State, like it doesn't work. That's what the Titans are.
I do think it's coaching too. I think Vrabel
is a
very good coach, and I think he elevates them in the games where talent is, I don't want to say matters less, but when you can get away with having less talent, he wins those games.
His coaching identity matches the identity of the roster, which is exactly what you need. So it just comes down to like, you should try to nullify Derrick Henry as best as you can. That's a lot easier to say with Jordan Davis. I think Jordan Davis is going to play. I saw this tweet today, Vince, if you can pull it up, that kind of leads me to believe that he is playing. But it's just like, make this a game where Ryan Tannehill has to beat Jalen Hurts. Make that a game. So Jordan Davis was activated from the practice window today. And here's the tweet, Josh Celentino. A joyous Jordan Davis just strolled down the locker room with his lunch plate in hand. Hey, what up, baby? Earlier today, the Eagles activated the 21-day practice window for Davis to return from IR. I just think that tweet is so funny to me because he's just like such a large human being who could just crush a normal guy, and his personality just isn't that at all. Yep. He seems like the most outgoing, energetic, positive guy, and then they're like, you have to kill Derrick Henry on Sunday.
He's like the prototypical, what they call it, like, oh, he's a teddy bear.
Yeah, he has the personality of a teddy bear.
Yeah,
and then just the playing style of army tank.
Grizzly bear.
Yeah. Oh, the cocaine bear. Did you see that preview for that
Yes.
movie?
Yes. That's
That's perfect. Jordan Davis has the personality of a teddy bear, and he has the playing style of cocaine bear.
that is Jordan Davis.
There it is. And
I
that
think what he needs to help, and the entire defense needs to stop this, but like, okay, if Derrick Henry's toting the load for 25 to 30 carries, they're going to do that. He's going to have a couple runs of 7, 8, maybe 10. You need to stop that 65 to 70 yard touchdown run that he gets when they win games.
Yes.
That's what you have to stop.
100%. If you look at Derrick Henry's like rush attempts, sometimes it'll be like -2, -1, 0, and then it goes to 64. That's what kills you. Like you can shut him down, but it's just like it takes once for him to just like you get the angle wrong, and it's between him and a safety who he is going to steamroll.
And now you have Epps and Blankenship back there.
I trust Reese Battleship with my life.
Sure you do.
I do. I love how we're just like thrown at like the Sue thing and Linval Joseph thing have worked out so well so far that people were just like Malcolm Jenkins, maybe. Investors, possibly you. yeah, Dallas Goedert got hurt. We're like, is Gronk available? It's like these guys kind of retired for a reason.
Well, but it's kind of like what's his name last year for the Rams. Came back and won the Super Bowl.
Eric.
Yeah, Weddle. Yeah,
he came back and won. So I mean,
what is realistic?
Like, DJ will be back.
Yeah, like when though? So a lacerated kidney doesn't sound fun. Like
I lacerated my spleen before. It was the most pain I've ever been in my entire life. It feels like, you know that feeling when you get the wind knocked out of you? It's like that, except permanent, and also you feel like you're just gonna throw up the entire time. It's the worst pain. And I knew like the way he walked off the field, I was like, I think he did what I did, because I was walking like that where I couldn't stand up straight. Like if you stand up, it's just like, because your organ is ripped. So, like, if you stand up, like, then the hole in your organ opens and you're bleeding out of it. So you have to be like hunched. And I was like, I think he did what I did. And he
he just dropped to his knees and like he just was bent over. I'm like, oh,
that is exactly how I reacted. Like I was just like in shock and just like dropped to my knees. And I'm like, did I just get shot in the stomach? Like what happened? And just like you can't even stand up straight. Now, I really don't know like the timetable. The biggest thing, like once the pain will heal, it's like having a cut, but it's the going back to contact that's tough. Zach Ertz played with a lacerated kidney, but he played because we were in week 17. And it was like season on the line. If that, like if we're week 13, like when CJ got hurt, I don't know if he would have done that. So I don't know. Like I'm surprised he didn't go on IR. I would have brought him back for the Saints game. He would have missed the Cowboys game. I think realistically, the Cowboys game, you would be over the moon if he could be back for that game. They're probably not putting him on IR. If we played the Texans on Christmas Eve and not the Cowboys, he'd be on IR. The reason he's not is because that is the fourth game. And if there's a chance that he could come back early, he'll be out there.
Yeah, I get it. Being a tight end, you're getting hit hard over the middle with a lacerated kidney, but you can also run routes where you know he's not going to get popped a lot. Yeah. The way CJ plays too, his physicalness, the way he flies up, I just feel like that's just going to be very difficult that quickly. Like
it's an injury where you have to avoid contact, and you're playing a position that requires you to make contact on every tackle.
And jumping up for interception. I don't know.
It's like I said, if you were playing the Texans, he'd be on IR, but you're playing the Cowboys with the division on the line. So you keep the window open just in case.
So he'll be back with 2 picks, and Dallas Goedert will have 2 touchdowns back.
They said today Goddard has the sling off. He's ready. They think he'll be able to come off IR week 15 when he's eligible. Hopefully Maddox can come off the IR next week. So at least the guys who are hurt, I've been saying this. We said this 3 weeks ago when we were undefeated. The only thing stopping this team is health. So
can you imagine if like
the horse
everything comes together, like Goddard, that's his first game back. CJ, he makes it back. Odell signs. That's his first game as a Cowboy. Like, it's just going to be stupid.
It's like that scene in Captain America when they all reunite to fight Thanos again at the end. Like, they all got beaten up, and then they, like, come back together, and you're like, oh.
And then it's just like a 13-12 game. It's just a miserable game.
Yeah. Then none of them do anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Just one more thing on the Titans-Eagles game this week. Again, it's stopping the run. It's how the Titans play. Be more talented than their playing style, and you will win. Two things on that. Can we just have like a good special teams week? Like, make them beat you 53-53. Don't allow them to be in this game because you run into the punter, because you allow a kickoff return to the 50. Like, could we just have like a above average special teams week instead of a D- every week? It's so, because you can just see it coming that this is how they lose a playoff game for a team that's too talented to lose a playoff game like that. That'll be so annoying. Also, AJ Brown's playing the Titans. I think I
was going to say, do you think they're going to try and force feed him?
Yeah, they're also trying to get him back integrated in the office on the offense. I don't know if you saw the quote he had afterwards. He threw up so much he popped a blood vessel in his eye.
I saw the eye.
Yeah, you have proof. It was insane. I can't imagine being that sick. So it was a miracle that he even played last week. But they'll try to get this week is the week.
I saw on Twitter too, Eagles fans coming at him or like, you can't fumble, slop, like going at. I'm like, really? Can we stop? Like, first of all, he was sick. Second of all, he still has seven touchdowns this year. Like, what? Like, going at him already?
So here's the thing. And this is like the Philly textbook. This is all you got to do. He's fumbled back-to-back weeks. They were back-breaking fumbles. Not good. The fans were like,
he scored a touchdown.
He did score a touchdown, but the fans were like, you gotta stop. Like, this is like, it's driving us nuts. This is crucial moments. We are going to say something about you. And in the post game, he took accountability. They said he stayed longer at his locker to explain why he was the way that he was, explain that it was inexcusable, but he knows that. He's working on that. He's making a point of emphasis. He is sick, and he's still trying to play. It is the same as the Alec Boehm thing. He walked up. He said, yeah, I said what I said. I screwed up. It was me, but I'm working to improve that. And it's just like, that's it. It's so easy. This is 101 remedial stuff to figure out how to be able to play here and succeed here. So easy.
You mean the same Alec Boehm that's going to be on the same side of the infield as Trey Turner next year?
I can't freaking wait, man. I hope. What an infield. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Bryson, Trey, and Boehm.
And DeGrom and Wheeler back together.
I will be insufferable. If the Eagles win the division and we sign Jacob DeGrom, don't even allow me to have a microphone.
Oh, God. The times they are changing in Philadelphia, everybody.
Let's hope.
Or everything gets built up and then
more likely, I think we know.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like this was preseason. This game for both of us against the Titans was one we circled, right?
Yeah.
That's fearful, I think. And then we've seen what both of our run defenses can do, and we kind of circled it even more.
First it was in pen, then it was in Sharpie.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy. So we'll see. Yeah, and ball control and stop the big man with your big man.
Stop the big man with our bigger man.
Yeah.
It's again back to Captain America. It's like, oh, we have so and so, and they're like, we have a Hulk. This is it. They have all these things. We have a Hulk.
Yep.
Use it.
So let's see.
Yeah. So I do think it'll genuinely be a good game. There's some good games this week, which is good because I think last week was a little dry. I don't know. It wasn't the most exciting.
Yeah, it was a pretty boring slate for sure.
Like there were, I don't know, like there was an overtime game, but it was Bucks Browns. And like the Raiders game was cool, but like it didn't have any playoff implications.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen the end of it, but Scott Hansen lied to me.
God, come on, Chris.
Come on. He's like, flip over to your local CBS. I was like, oh, okay. I flipped there, and it's some like dude just on 60 Minutes. I was like, oh, well, it'll just change over real quick. And I'm sitting there like,
It's probably the longest you ever watched 60 Minutes. That
Literally.
show just means the weekend is over. It's like
Yes.
no football
Yep.
fan is ever. They advertise every week when you're watching the 4 o'clock slate. And you're like,
Yep.
and stick around for 60 minutes, and not once is the football fan ever like,
Nope.
oh, that's an interesting expose that I'm going to tune into on 60
Nope.
Minutes. Like, God no.
I'm flipping right over to NBC to watch Jason Garrett.
Yeah. Oh, that was bad.
It's unbelievable. And you and I tweet the same exact tweet at the same exact time because we have one brain.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick before we hop into Cowboys Colts, would you also like to just hit on the tweet you put out and why this game is actually a revenge game that people may forget?
The worst moment of my life, aside from
You have a lot of those.
You're telling me. The worst moment of my life. First of all, follow Birds vs. Boys Pod on Twitter if you want to see the tweet. The worst moment of my life, aside from lacerating my spleen, was 4th and 15. You're at Tennessee. Marcus freaking Mariota is the quarterback. You've already scored a field goal in overtime. All you have to do is get off the field on 4th and 15, and we play an insane sticks defense and give up 4th and 15 because Corey freaking Graham doesn't know where to be. And the entire way down the field, they scored a touchdown on 3rd and 4th downs. It was like getting stabbed every 4th play. It was the most frustrating Eagles game
With a very long knife.
I have ever watched with a machete. It was like getting stabbed with a machete. It's like it was one of those games where we've all had frustrating losses. It was so frustrating that I was in disbelief that it happened.
You're almost laughing at that point.
I was dumbfounded that it was the longest drive of my life.
Was that the same year they had that really bad loss to the Lions at home?
Yes.
Yeah.
That entire year that we had a worse loss to the Panthers. We were up 21-0 and lost. Oh, that whole year
was just the insufferable, inexcusable, unbelievable loss this year.
You know what else happened that year? It was the Cowboys-Eagles game with the no clear recovery on the fumble,
which there was not.
Offensive pass interference
Which
on
there
Dallas
was.
Goedert. Oh,
the officials were phenomenal that day.
How
so you had about 6 worst moments of your life just that season
in a span of 2 months.
Yep.
In 2 months,
this is the worst moment of my life.
Vince is right. That was the moment we should have realized that Carson Wentz has a hex put on him.
Mm-hmm.
That was bad. Yeah, so this is a revenge game for every fan who had to sit through that overtime at Tennessee, because that was 4 years ago. That was the most brutal moment of our lives as a Eagles fan.
All right, speaking of Carson Wentz, he will not be playing in this Colts Cowboys game because, well, he's not on the team anymore. And
yeah,
as we can see, they are doing so much better without him.
I was right again, technically, kind of.
But the Cowboys are playing Sunday Night Football against this Colts team that is, I don't know, not good.
They do play football every week.
They play football.
A statement of fact.
They do. They're coming off, I guess you could say, a short week. They played Monday night against the Steelers and lost in a very bad football game.
That was a game, unless you had fantasy implications, which actually all of us did. Why were you sitting through that?
I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then I fell asleep. You know, one of those moments, which I love doing. There's nothing better than a game that your team's not in on Saturday night college football or the Sunday night game where you're in bed and you're just like in and out, and then like you pass out, and it's like 7 plays later, and you watch like 3 plays, and you fall asleep. It's the best.
It's my favorite thing to do with 4 o'clock games.
Right.
Like Chargers, what have they done in the last quarter? Oh, screwed up. Let's see if they can turn it around. Yeah. And that was bad game. They are clearly a limited offense at pretty much like they lied to themselves. If we want to get into the breakdown of the game, this should be a Cowboys win. I don't expect this to be close. Do you?
No, which means it's gonna be. It scares me.
I think the only way it's close is because I feel like the Colts energy-wise haven't quit. Like they play hard. They're a team that plays hard. I don't think Jeff Saturday is a bad coach. He got his job in a bad way. It's not a bad team, which is probably worse. because you'd rather just be bad than be mediocre.
Yep. I think it's their defense plays hard. I don't know if Jonathan Taylor maybe is starting to round the corner, which scares me against the Cowboys' run defense. Ever since Aidan picked him up in a trade in fantasy, all of a sudden. So that scares me a little bit. But that offensive line of theirs is not good, even with Quentin Nelson on it. They have some injuries now. The center got hurt. Was limited in practice. I think this is a game where I think it would be his 7th this season where Micah Parsons legitimately has a shot for multiple sacks in a game.
That's not even fair. Micah Parsons versus Matt Ryan. Not even fair. That is abuse.
And you know what else is? It's Dan Quinn against Matt Ryan because he knows exactly what Matt Ryan is. He knows exactly where Matt Ryan's going to be, which is in a little 2-yard box because he is a statue. And we saw, if you remember last year, what the Cowboys did to the Falcons and Matt Ryan. I mean, Dan Quinn abused him. So I think Dan Quinn is cooking up hell for Matt Ryan. So yes, should this be a Cowboys win? Absolutely. Does it look like Matt Ryan's 137 pounds and has no arm strength? Yes. Has Trayvon Diggs been playing out of his mind this year? Yes. But we got Anthony Brown on the other side that is known to give up plays to anybody. So that could be, I don't even know who's their number one. What's the big dude?
Michael Pittman.
Yes. So I could easily see a 65-yard bomb to Michael Pittman that all of a sudden gets him in this game. But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't. I think Cowboys are going to be up for this game on Sunday Night Football. They know the next 3 games that are ahead of them against the AFC South heading into then this Eagles game. They know how close they are. I think they're also on this Bachelor in Paradise for Odell Beckham thing. So they kind of want to show off again as they have Odell coming to the facility the next day. So
that worries me. You're focused on signing him and you're not focused on the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now I hope the players aren't. I hope that's just Jerry and Steven well,
luckily none of them have tweeted recruiting him, so I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Yeah, I think none of them at all.
Not a single one.
So X's and O's, I don't think there's a spot where the Colts have an advantage except for Jonathan Taylor against the Cowboys' run defense. I think that's it. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to run the ball on the Colts. I think they're going to be able to pass the ball on the Colts. But like we said, the Colts are going to play hard, right? But they also have some injuries to worry about. Their captain on the back end, safety, is hurt. He did not practice again today. So the line was 9. It's moved up to 11. It's in Dallas, Sunday Night Football. But, I mean, yes, the Cowboys' offense has been a lot better since Dak came back. Technically, he's been the best quarterback since he's been back. Number 1 offense, blah, blah, blah. Again, that is inflated because of what they did to Minnesota. So I don't like counting those stats. But Dak needs to clean up some of these interceptions, Aiden. I mean, especially in the red zone. The pick in the end zone against Green Bay, he did it again against the Giants. 2 just inexcusable picks to literally guys that were working at Best Buy the week before. So those type of things need to be cleaned up. But guys like Michael Gallup starting to round into form. And the thing that I'm loving the most out of this offense is the 3 tight end sets. I mean, Hendershot, Ferguson, and Schultz have been playing great together. Give me more 3 tight end sets.
Yes, I agree. I really like that a lot. But just kind of keeps the defense off balance because you can run pass out of both of them and all 3 of them playing well. Big weekend for Dalton Schultz, 2 touchdowns last week. I agree. I really like the style of that and what it does to defenses and pretty much makes them guess all the time, which is the name of the game.
And behind CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, those are your best 3 pass catchers, taking out Tony Pollard. But it's better than Noah Brown, right? It's better than Jalen Tolbert.
This has been a really good adjustment in being all right, our receivers are not good. Aside from CD, where's another way we can adjust? It's this. It's the 3 tight end thing.
Yep. And actually throwing the ball to Tony Pollard.
That too. Using
that helps.
Yeah.
So Is it going to be a thrilling game?
No.
Probably not. But hopefully for me, it's going to be a exciting game because a lot of points and a lot of sacks and a lot of all of that. But at the same time, that's what scares me. Like, I'm so broken, and I know you are too, as a fan, where
Yeah,
it's
but
like
that
I
has
can't
nothing to
even
do with
just
sports.
no, sports wise broken. Like I can't even like I get excited for these games, but like until it's 3-0s, even if Dallas, like when they played Minnesota, even when they were up like 35-3, I was like, well, that meme came back.
There's a chance. Yeah, I do. I get that. Yeah, I've seen enough flown leads to know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's
But
tough.
3 straight against the AFC South: Colts, Texans, Jaguars, who scare me a little bit heading into then the Eagles on Christmas Eve, which I'm still not excited about. 4:00, right when everything's starting in my in-laws' house.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to look ahead, but I can just see the implications of that. But for this game, I think this is a game where we lie to ourselves that it's close, and we're like, oh, the Colts are within 8 points if they just go down the field, score, and get the 2-point conversion and send it in overtime, and then score in overtime and get a stop against the Cowboys. Then they'll win. And it's like, you look at it in hindsight and you're like, well, that was impossible. Like, there's no chance of them being able to do all of those things. It's like, well, if everything falls exactly correct for the Colts, they could maybe beat the Cowboys if it rains indoors. It's like, Mike Tirico has to lie to us and hype us up.
You know what I could see this game sort of being like is the Lions game that the Cowboys had earlier in the season, where the Cowboys won 24-6, but it was
6-0,
6-3 at halftime. Detroit.
I watched
but then the Cowboys scored 21 in the second half, and they shut out the Lions.
Yes, mm-hmm.
That's the type of game I could definitely see this being.
Like the Colts score first, they go down, they have a perfect drive, and then from there it's like, okay, the Cowboys handle. Yeah,
Colts go down and score. Cowboys go 3 and out. Hell is fire is raining down, and then all of a sudden you get a Micah strip sack, and the game changed.
And all is well. Yep. I can absolutely see that. That is, I think we have a pretty solid prediction of how it's going to go. Put our prediction on the board when they do the Sunday Night Football graphic.
Thank you very much. All right. Anything else you want to get into before we bring producer Vincent in?
Nope.
Get into our TikToks and head into week 12.
I'm good. Can't wait.
Let's go. Vincent? Van Gogh?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing all right.
All right. We got 2
Christmas
TikToks.
tree? We do.
And one of our trees, because we turned into a multi-tree house, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're a house now, not just a room.
That's true.
Vince, you have Spotify?
Apple Music.
You're engaged, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not married yet.
I paid
he's
for
also been with he's a child bride, remember? He came out of the womb dating her.
I pay for my Apple Music, so at least I don't have commercials.
But that's what I'm saying. He says he can't pay for it because he's married, and you are going to be married, and you pay for it. Let's prove my point.
Exactly.
Thank you. All right. Power rankings or sleeper teams first? Which would you guys like to do?
Dealer's choice.
Let's do. We always finish with power rankings, so let's keep that consistent. Let's do the sleeper team first, because I think that's an easy little. It's a little appetizer because we only have 1 team instead of 5 teams with the power rankings. So I think if we all go around, say our team we think can make a deep run, that'll get us going and lead us right into the power rankings.
Love it.
All right, here we go. 1 team each. Sleeper teams who can make a deep run to the Super Bowl. I'll start. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody thought I was going to go 49ers because I always do. But the Bengals are starting to come into shape the same time they did last year. It's kind of a parallel to what they did last year. And they got on that winning streak, and they started to put things together. And they're doing it again this time. And this time they're doing it without Jamar Chase. Samaje Perine has had to stop up for Joe Mixon. And like they just have this monster in T. Higgins. And he's not even their best receiver. And you start to look at the amount of weapons they have, and they're in the same situation. If the offensive line can hold up, they can be back in the AFC Championship. Bang.
Yeah, they are a little scary. But for me, it's that San Francisco 49ers that you talk about. Their offense, even with a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, I know we always say, like, you need the quarterback to win the Super Bowl, but this team, maybe they don't need, because maybe they have just that guy that can steer the ship, try and not get things wrong. We've seen people also are like, well, Jimmy's never really done it. He's gone to the Super Bowl. He went up and won in Green Bay, right? He had beat the Rams. Like he was actually a tart interception away from beating the Rams last year and going to the Super Bowl as well, which people forget. And he was on the Eagles and got cut. But their defense has not allowed 1 point in the second half in the last 4 games. They have Christian McCaffrey. He's a little banged up now. Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk is getting cooking again. I mean, Nick Bosa is second in voting right now for Defensive Player of the Year behind Micah Parsons. They scare the living you-know-what out of me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's really just any team that isn't mathematically eliminated, because anything apparently can happen in the NFL this year. Nothing makes sense at all. But more seriously, I think I'm going to say the Washington Commanders. And it's not a cop-out answer for the Eagles either. I think it's sneakily could be a good football team, or maybe they're a terrible football team. I have absolutely no idea. But if they get a wild card spot, anyone can rip off a handful of wins. So I don't know. Taylor Heineke's corny, but so is every backup quarterback that's gone on a run. So I don't know. He's the perfect backup quarterback. He's super unlikable, but if he's on your team, he's super likable. That Jordan's thing is absolutely ridiculous, but just the right thing to get those cornballs in DC behind him. I couldn't think of a less deserving team to get this, but I think they could be the ones.
You sure gave them a ring endorsement.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how
maybe the wire skeleton of Sean Taylor can get on the field for them?
Oh, God.
2 things. One, the left hand up, who are we, the Commanders guys, are performing at FedEx Field the next 2 games. So
what are they performing?
I don't hate that.
No, who are we? That whole song.
They're doing the song?
Yeah.
No.
They said
Why?
That's their
because it's become a huge thing. Like the Commanders actually, like after the game that they won the other day, tweeted left hand up with like.
This is like when I didn't realize like how many crazy people there are, and then a bunch of QAnon supporters showed up for the revitalization of JFK.
Yes.
If there's people out there that think that song is cool and they're performing it live, I severely underestimated how weird people can be.
Who are we? The Commanders. Also, the next 2 games for the Commanders, do you know who they play?
Actually, no.
The Giants, a bye, and the Giants.
That's a late bye. Wow.
But they played the Giants 2 games in a row. Like, what are we doing, NFL?
The Bills played 2 games in a row in Detroit, so anything can happen.
It's just, speaking of, anything can happen. When I was looking at the schedule, I was like, wow, they're playing the Giants 2 straight weeks. What are we doing here?
That just smells like a split.
Mm-hmm. But have you I don't ever remember the Cowboys playing, except when they played the Eagles the last game of the season and then in the playoffs. Back-to-back regular season weeks?
No. That 1 year we played 4 straight NFC East games to end it, so we played Washington close. No, it was the Giants. We played them pretty close together, but not really.
If there was any 2 weeks of separation. If there was any team for the NFL to drop the ball on the schedule, it's the Commanders.
Yes.
That's fair. Yeah, they were like, we don't care what it looks like. Well, can't wait to see that performance. It should be a great.
I'm sure it'll bring the house down and have nothing to do with the performance.
Just like the Sean Taylor Dick's Sporting Goods mannequin that they built.
Bad. All right, let's do power rankings. Normal triangle power rankings. NFL Week 12.
13.
Okay.
No.
I feel like 10, I just looked.
12.
10 plus 1. The Eagles played 11 games plus a bye. That's 12. So this will be week 13.
Week 13. Yeah, you're right.
13.
So it is. Okay. Week 13 power rankings NFL. At 5, I have the Bills. They snuck one out against the Lions. They feel like a team who's putting in 80% effort until they play the Chiefs in the playoffs because they know nothing matters until they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I also saw a metric this week in terms of luck statistics, which we're doing now. They are near the bottom, one of the most unlucky teams in the league. With that amount of talent and things that not working your way in luck, I still believe in them to be good. At 5, I have the Bills.
5 for me. I also have the Buffalo Bills. I think they are still good. I think Josh Allen is still a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, but like you said, just the unluckiness. But at the same time, having that luck at the end of the Thanksgiving Day game to go down the field, kick the field goal, win the game. Maybe the luck starts to turn a little bit. Maybe things settle down a little bit where they're not playing in Detroit twice in 2 weeks in the snowstorm. Then get back on track. Bills at 5.
At 5, what I have literally written down is Bills, I guess. I kind of begrudgingly put them there just because they're not, like you said, they grunted out a win against the Lions. As a team that
there's nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with that. Someone else on this list may have also done that, but this team isn't particularly exciting me right now. Again, but you're right. It doesn't feel like they're, not to say they're not trying, but they're not giving 100% right now. So they still could, at any time, just decide to flip the switch.
Yep. At 4, I have the Cowboys. I am worried about the physical well-being of Matt Ryan against Micah Parsons in this defense this week. They keep chugging along. The Giants are okay, and I thought they beat them handily. And 4, I have the Cowboys.
Again, disclaimer, I will not have the Cowboys in my power rankings this week as a Cowboys fan because if I put them in, they will automatically lose and be kicked out. So at 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Like I said in our other TikTok, they scare the living crap out of me. They have not allowed a point in the second half in the last 4 games, and that offense, they can play ground and pound. They can air it out a little bit to guys like Debo and Ayuk, and they are a team you do not want to see down the stretch.
Quick disclaimer, I forgot the 49ers, and I'm sorry.
You might not be the only one. At 4, I have Justin Jefferson. He's just the only player on that team I feel like I can put on this list, and he just deserves to be on it. No one else on that team does.
Fair enough.
All right. At 3, I have the Eagles. Jalen Hurts just wins. I said it last week. I'll say it again. 40 points. He had the best statistical dual threat game from a quarterback since Colin Kaepernick a decade ago. It's just what he does, man. It's just like these games. It's like at one point we thought, would the Eagles win despite Jalen Hurts? And now they're winning because of Jalen Hurts, and everybody else needs to pick up their end of the bargain at points. It's a talented team. I like where they're at. Big week this week. I got the Eagles at 3.
At 3, I have the Miami Dolphins. They just keep winning when Tua plays. 8-3 on the season. 8-0 when Tua starts and finishes a game. He leads the league in QBR. He is right up there, I think, 1A with Jalen Hurts in terms of the MVP race. Tyreek Hill is unbelievable. I say it every week. This team can put up 35 on anybody. They are explosive. They are fun. They are fast. Very, very fast.
I have the Cowboys. I don't know. There's just not much to fault them for except for everything you said for the last half hour. But they just feel like they're completed. Like they're one of the biggest threats in the NFC right now. You can't not put them on the list.
Except for the Cowboys fan.
At 2, I have the Dolphins. You know, at the beginning of football seasons in high school when the varsity team will scrimmage the JV team just to kind of like tune it up and, just have a practice that you can get away with to get ready. That's what it looked like when the Dolphins played the Texans. That was bad. They were so much better. That was not the same level of skill.
No.
That was a Super Bowl contender, and I don't know if the Texans are an NFL team. At 2, I have the Dolphins.
2 for me, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. That performance that Jalen Hurts had 100 yards in the first quarter, ran for more yards than Michael Vick ever did in an Eagles uniform. One of the most unbelievable rushing performances in NFL history at the quarterback. Yes, he ran for more than he threw, but who cares? This is a new age NFL. We'll see if that kind of offense can win in the playoffs. We don't know yet, but we don't know what we don't know. The Eagles are good. They're going to get Jordan Davis back. They're going to get Avonte Maddox back. They're going to get their safeties back. And A.J. Brown's not going to fumble the ball every game. So, Eagles, confirmed. Still good.
Yeah, 2 I have the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is just the perfect combination of above average talent and just unbelievable winning personality. Like, the dude himself is just a winner. He could be the worst player on the team, but the team would win more games if he was on it just because he was on it. Cool. And the fact that he's also a fantastic football player is perfect.
At 1, I have the Chiefs. They played football last week and they won a game. We ran out of things to say. It's them. It's the Chiefs at 1.
And 1, I have the Chiefs. And I feel like they're just unbelievably underrated this year. And I'm also putting them at 1 because I feel like Jackson Mahomes has been very quiet this year. Haven't been hearing about him all over the place, which is
always
a
good.
plus for.
I did see him.
Oh,
I saw him. He was in. You see the video of Patrick Mahomes talking to the Fonz?
No.
So he's talking to Henry Winkler, and he daps up his brother in the middle of the conversation because his brother tried to interrupt his conversation with Henry Winkler.
Well,
that sounds
take
right.
him out of number 1 then.
Yeah. At 1, I have the Chiefs. End of TikTok.
All right.
Thank you very much, Vincent.
Thank you, Vince. All right. We can call from there. Another big week for us. Getting big, getting clutch.
Thank you for tuning in for Birds versus Boys versus AFC South this week.
Versus, if you caught the beginning before we taped, Birds versus Boys versus AFC South versus the IRS.
Versus Chase.
Versus Chase Bank. We got a lot of enemies this week
Jeff
before we
Bezos.
get to Christmas Eve.
Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on Spotify or on Google or on Apple. If you have Spotify and we're on your little thingy, thank you. Post it. I don't know if that's even a thing with podcasts, but
yeah,
Aidan seemed very angry today.
The metrics make no sense. Like the Spotify wrapped music, they're giving you the mood that you're in. I saw in the morning, you're melancholy. And at night, you listen to sad boy angst. I don't even know what that means. And then the podcast metrics, they won't even give me the amount of minutes. All they said was our number 1 country is the United States. Yeah, no wonder. What are we doing, Spotify?
We're not big in Qatar.
Spotify are great people. If you're listening, we love you very much. Thank you. Let's start the music.
I have constructive criticism. I didn't say they were bad. I praised them. I said they're better than Apple.
Yes, you did. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you follow us anywhere that you listen to your podcast, especially if it's Spotify, because we do love Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Birds vs. Boys Pod, and TikTok, Birds vs. Boys Pod as well. Cowboys, Colts, Sunday night. Cowboys, Titans, Sunday afternoon. Because, well, there's no other better game to play than the Colts and the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. So we will be back and possibly, maybe, sort of, probably not, we'll have an answer to the Odell Beckham Bowl next time we record. Probably not.